I just wanted to quickly make a video because we've seen that at NAMM there's been the announcement that Origin Effects are bringing out a hot rodded version of their RevivalDrive, and that's kind of cool to me because you might have seen the video where I was discussing my favourite pedals of 2019, and the RevivalDrive Compact came up in that. But one of my issues with the pedal, or my only real issue with the pedal, is that it doesn't quite have enough gain where I could just take this out and get enough drive. You know, if I was using that with a clean amp, wouldn't it be enough drive for me to do some of the stuff that I like to do, particularly as I'm using a single coil guitar most of the time. So I just wanted to look at a few other ways that we could get more out of the pedal, and yeah, so that's what this video is. So I'm just going to quickly demonstrate the clean tone. So pretty clean. And then here's the gain at about halfway. So what you've really got there is edge of breakup kind of stuff at about halfway. If you really dig in. And as you increase the gain up to 3/4 of the way, you get a bit more. Then all the way up, this is the amount of gain you've got. So, although those are cool usable sounds, much like if you had a real Marshall blues breaker or a Plexi or a Fender amp or even a Vox AC30, when you've got the gain all the way open, it doesn't quite get you into the territory that we need for kind of metal playing or heavier rock styles, or even for some smooth kind of sustaining lead tones like the ones that I like to use. So there's a couple of ways that we could get a bit more out of the pedal, and one of those is to turn the gain up on whatever device you're using. So if it's a modeler, for instance here, if I turn the gain up on the modeler to be about you know, getting to that edge of breakup territory, or slightly driven, then when I kick in the RevivalDrive, get a different kind of response. So that's with the gain halfway, gain 3/4. So that's with the gain at 3/4, and we've already got quite a lot on tap there. So if I turn the gain up even more, and so that's one way that we can get quite a lot more out of the RevivalDrive. So take your amp or your modeler, whatever you're using, and increase the gain so that you're running the RevivalDrive in front of an already edge of breakup kind of territory, and quite a decent response. And if you turn the amp output up on the RevivalDrive, you can get even more. So I've put the drive on the Iridium back to about midway, so you've got the sort of a clean with the origin off. Then this kind of tone, I'm going to back that off a little bit. And then I've got a Keeley Tone workstation here, which has got like a tube screamer, blues breaker and a compressor on it. I'm just going to kick in the blues breaker and see what that does. I've got the drive on that up quite high, the tone is backed off and the level is quite high. Back. Off. So that blues breaker kind of is a flattish response boost and gain. I think that worked quite nicely. That's the first time I've tried that. This is actually the first time I've tried running anything into the front of the RevivalDrive, and I'm quite liking that. So here's a tube screamer. So here's the tube screamer with the gain fully up and so pretty pleasant and not at all fizzy. that's just a few ideas for while we wait for the hot rodded version to come out, how you can get a bit more out of the RevivalDrive Compact or the RevivalDrive if you're finding there's not quite enough gain. Either you can run a pedal in front of it and it takes pedals super well, or you can turn up the gain on the pedal that you've got after it. If you're using a real amp, for instance, push it to that kind of edge of breakup territory and then use the RevivalDrive to kind of kick it over the edge. Is quite a good way of getting some cool tones out of it. But yeah, my preference would be to stick like a tube screamer or something in front of it and really push it over the edge, because this seems to stay smooth sounding pretty well.